Yep. So yeah, my name is Sarith, originally from Cambodia, migrated into Thailand.
And where do you live now?
I live in Providence, Rhode Island.
Sweet. Where did you where did you go to high school?
Went 2 weeks in the ninth grade in Central High.
That was that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
2 weeks and then you were done.
Yep. Then I was done. Yep.
What happened?
Firstborn child was conceived. Needed to get that money. You know what I mean? And I think during the time it was like none of us graduated high school, right? It was like the thing to do, like just drop out, make that cash, and do you, you know?
Your firstborn child was born while you were in ninth grade.
Pretty much, I was late 15, turning 16. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. What was that like?
It was pretty crazy, bro. Going to all of the checkups and stuff like that. The doctors wouldn't allow me in because I was underage. Yeah, they were like, you need a parent, you need to be over 18, and they were giving me so much hassle, bro. Like, so like that whole like trying to be there for like my child when he was being conceived and all that, it was a tough time. My mom literally had to bring me to go sign papers so I could be in the same room as my wife are getting the ultrasound and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, why don't you tell us what you remember about, your earliest memories from Cambodia? What are some of the earliest things you remember?
Earliest things, right? So definitely remember just picking up and walking a lot, right? Like just relocating, staying at certain places in the woods, in the forest, 2 or 3 months relocating. I mean, like it didn't really make sense to me at the time, but I figured it all out now being grown up. But like I think the earliest memories, yeah, that has to be it. And just playing with the other, like you would call like neighborhood kids, right? So they were just basically our camp kids, like the camp group or the people that were with us and in the journey of this transitioning of moving camps to camps to camps. And the main reason why we did this was because, like, as some of you are familiar with, like the whole Khmer Rouge regime and all that stuff. It's like this is later on the timeline, but like there were still some rogue groups still trying to like yeah, let's still do what we do, still fight for the cause, and basically the cause was killing everyone who were against what they believed, right? Like,
what did they believe?
So the leader of this whole thing, right? Like his name is Pol Pot. So he's basically a Cambodian dude, right? Like he went to France. He got educated on the lifestyle, the history and everything about it, fell in love with the culture, right? Came back to our country, wanted to erase all of our culture and rewrite it the way that he sees fit, right? Like he wanted us almost to follow how France did it, and all this crap, right? Like, and then everybody like who was against it was just basically the death penalty. There was like no ifs, ands, or buts. It was just soon as you objected it, slaughter, firing squad, machetes, whatever, bro. Like they just killed a shit ton of people.
Was there a political agenda? What was the politics to that?
So Pol Pot was the grandson of the current king at the time, I think. And during that time that he came back from France, I'm pretty sure that he got ushered in as the new king, right? Like to run Cambodia the way he sees fit. He got ushered in as the new king, and the first day he became the new king, he literally went door to door, collected all the weapons, all the guns, all the knives, everything from all the citizens, and that same night he killed 290,000 Cambodians. The same night.
So he had military go door to door.
Yep, collected it, and then after that, just slaughtered them.
What political party was he with?
I really don't know. Like that's it's weird, right? Because even asking some old timers about it, there really were no sides or anything at the time. It was just like one king and you hailed them, and that was it.
This didn't have anything to do with the communist regimes at the time?
Oh, okay, yeah. So definitely, so he believed in communism, right? Like he just wants full control. He wants to be responsible for rationing food, rationing weapons, rationing healthcare, and all of these all of these extra things, right? Like, so he does believe in the communist regime, and I'm pretty sure he's learned a few of that traits from like China, right? Like, so they're like the best at this. Like, that's their whole practice since the beginning of time. But yeah, it definitely, so like he actually was fighting for the Communist Party, and that's what he was trying to instill. And then everyone who was against it, like ultimately just lost their lives because of it.
So your dad and your parents were against it?
We were. Yeah, we definitely were. And that's the main reason. It wasn't just us. It was, I would say 80% of the population was against it. After the first night that he just slaughtered people, everyone figured out, like, fuck this dude. You know what I mean? Like look at what he's doing. And like, you know what I'm saying? So like everyone gets smartened up. Made like everyone went behind, like, you know what I'm saying? Like behind the doors, whispered. Everyone made groups like, oh, I'm heading north, I'm heading south. Everyone banded up together and just dispersed out of Cambodia.
How was your parents fortunate enough to survive?
I would owe a great deal to my father and his friends and the group of people that were well trained, because he fought in wars. He's been military trained. So like, yeah, him and the group of men that were leading our group, we owe it all to them, man, because these dudes were fucking talented, bro. They were smart. They had like a military mindset, man. Like I'm talking about like every camps we went to, they went out and set perimeters. They set traps. They set and they're the ones that were responsible to feed the camp. Like they went out hunting. They brought whatever they can back, fishing, and then they were teaching us the trades, right? Like I remember growing up, like probably at the time I was 4, maybe 5. There was like other teenage kids, right? And then you could see them holding like training sessions at night, learning how to use a sword, learning how to shoot a gun, learning how to fist fight, all of these things. And you could literally see like small groups breaking up into different activities. The girls learning how to cook, like the women teaching them all of these traits, and then the men are learning how to be warriors and all of these things. Like it was crazy, man. It was like almost a Renaissance movie, man.
So when you say camps and groups, you guys were in like a survival group, like avoiding the government, avoiding the communist military. Is that accurate? Is that what was happening?
Exactly. So when I say camps, that's exactly what I'm referring to. Yep. And I guess we use the term camps, right? Because we're literally outside all day in the woods, breaking down shop, setting up shop every few months. But yeah, that's exactly what it is by camps.
Surviving and then moving on.
And moving on and trying to get away as far as from Cambodia as we could, because we think as far as we get, it's like a higher chance of survival, because they're not going to come this far looking for us. But we were actually wrong, man. They're just, because everything with the whole political party and everyone going crazy, they actually ventured out as far as we did with us, chasing us and trying to kill us. And then it's the crazy part of it all was too, like, there was like landmines, freaking like crazy wild animals that could kill you at any time. Like, and it was just rogue people, right? Like just people that just was in the woods alone. And it sounds weird, right? But like almost like serial killers, man. They're just like on the woods alone, and you run into them and they just kill people and they just go on like nothing's ever happened. Yeah, seriously.
You remember bumping into these types of people?
We did. And the thing is, I remember, yeah, dude, and there's no questions asked. Like so there's only one telltale sign is when he has a homemade sword. That's when you know that's the rogue dude. So then that way, if the men in our group, they don't give him no opportunity, bro. As soon as they ask a question, he doesn't answer, they slaughter him right away.
And you remember this?
Yeah.
You saw this?
I saw this, yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so like that's basically what it was, dude. Like sometimes we'd walk for like 4 days at a time, man, and we would only take like breaks because like people are tired and hungry, obviously, and then they try to venture out, grab food, grab supplies, come back, eat, drink, and keep moving. And then I would say through my whole travels, I remember 2 that was very distinct, and it's terrifying, bro. Like it scarred me a lot, because when one of the dudes that was like my dad's friend, when the guy was like, he was like, fuck you, you all deserve to die anyways. The dude just literally slashed him like this, dude, like right across the throat. Like
your dad's friend?
My dad's friend, yeah, because my dad was the one doing the questioning, and then the guy was standing next to him, his friend, and when the rogue guy was like, fuck you, you all deserve to die anyways, dude, the dude just whipped out his knife and just like, psh! I'm talking about just right across the throat. And like the way that blood squirted out, is almost animated, bro. It's almost like a cartoon. The thing shot like 2 feet in the air, and it went on for like 30 seconds before he actually fell to the ground and just stopped moving.
They didn't even give him the justice of shooting him. They just let him
No, yep, they just let him, dude. There was no way you're gonna survive that. And like, and also too, I guess like during the whole transition of moving from like camp to camp or in the woods, I guess I'd highlight like some things that were crazy, right? Like, so along the way, dude, there'd be like fucking dead bodies, like everywhere, dude. Mutilated, burnt, tortured. And the thing was, right, I think given the time of civilization, we weren't at a good place. We accepted that as the social norm. You know what I'm saying? Like seeing dead bodies, seeing people getting fucking killed. It was just so normal because we didn't see a higher standard of life yet. So it was almost like the transitioning of like the caveman phase to being civilized. You know what I'm saying? and it was crazy because I'll be honest with you, I think like seeing all of those things as a kid, I didn't think anything of it just because I thought it was normal, right? Like oh look, a fucking dead person. Oh look, a dead lady, dead kids. Like it never traumatized me then because it was normal. Like I think I went through all the traumatizing phases later on when I got older. It hit me a lot when I was like between 13 and 16. That's when I started to like do a lot of like information gathering, like talking to like my uncles and people that were there at the time. So like that's why like, and I pieced all the timeline together, right? So like I don't remember everything. I remember bits and parts, but then I also fished for confirmation from the people that were there. And the thing is, the craziest part was like my parents never spoke to like my siblings. It was just me and my older brother at the time. They never spoke about any of those things to us. And when we asked, they just brushed it off. I'm pretty sure the main reason for that was because like they were going through their traumatization. Like they didn't figure it out yet. They couldn't come out of it yet. So I think like us asking about it or anything like that, it was almost, they had to take a trip down memory lane and they don't want to do that. You know what I mean? So like I think a few of my older uncles now, they're doing pretty well. You know what I mean? Like they adjusted to like the Western society. They went to college. They did things like that. And then those are the people that I reached out to and was like, hey, remember your trip here? Remember this? Remember that? Yeah. And they were the one giving me all the information about everything. And they were like, and then they were the ones telling me most about my father. My father never said a word to me about anything in his past, ever. And it's crazy, yeah. And then they were the ones that were like, oh, you should have seen your dad. You don't know your dad. That's why like all of the like I wouldn't call it like terrible parenting. I would just call it like he did his best, right? Like he was fighting his demons, and this dude's killed over 300 people. Yeah, and this is confirmed by many groups of people. And like for him to fight his demons and still be sane is enough for me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna fish for like, hey dad, be proud of me and all this crap. Like in our generation, we don't give a shit about any of that. Like we really don't.
Okay, so your dad killed a lot of people. Do you remember seeing him have to kill people or hurt people?
Definitely. So there's definitely times that we had to defend camp, right? And I would say I remember them killing a lot of people, dude. And it was mainly like they used a lot of like spears that they made, and like chucking spears and seeing somebody get that shit go through people. It's crazy, bro. So like they would chuck the spears. As soon as they chuck the spears and throws them off guards, they run them with the machetes and just starts chopping these dudes up.
So you remember seeing your dad do that?
I remember seeing all of this. And you know why I remember this all? And I mentioned to you this before. There's 3 distinctive things till today that sticks with me. That like all the visualization, I could get over the traumatization, like I figured it out. But there's 3 things that stick with me till today, right? It's the smell of burning flesh is one. Because everyone that we killed, we had to burn to get rid of like diseases or anything like that. They were scared because none of us had the knowledge of any of this at the moment. We were just like, if a dead body's around long enough and it turns green, it's gonna get us sick. So they literally made fucking huge fires. And I'm talking about like everyone took turns picking up dead bodies and throwing them into the fire. Like, so that's one thing I remember very clearly. And 2, is the smell of blood, bro. When there's blood that's present in large amounts, it literally it literally smells like you're sniffing a fucking handful of pennies. Like it's the copper factor that's in your blood, but when a lot of it's present, the smell is so strong that you would never forget it, bro. And then number 3, obviously, it's rigor mortis, bro. Like when body starts to rot. I'll take a perfect example, right? You know how you see like a dead rat on the side of the road or whatever? Take that smell, times it by 1,000,000. That's exactly what body rot smells like. So like, dude, those 3 things, and like it sucks, right? So like, your smell is a really strong scent because smell triggers memory. So it triggers memories of good memories and also bad memories. So like when I smell a dead rat, that shit jives in my brain, bro. Like I remember like parts and bits, and it's just like, that's what always triggers like the PTSD of that time. Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like you would think seeing like violent actions or people getting hurt, that would trigger it. Actually not. It's the scent of smell that triggers it for me. Yeah, but going back to the question, right? Definitely, we had to defend ourselves from the rogue people I told you about, but also the people that were initiated for the job, just literally sent out to kill us. And we've protected ourselves many times. Obviously, we lost some people during the battles and the fights. And these people are ruthless, bro. They don't give a fuck if you're a man, woman, child. Anyone they get their machete onto, they're gonna chop. Kids, everything. And I remember losing friends, bro. This is the craziest part. Like neighborhood kids, we would in the daytime play with, go in the fields and look for grasshoppers to eat and fucking frogs to eat, all this shit. And then an attack happens later on that night. My friend dies. And then the next day, while everyone's doing their thing, the group of our kids, I got goosebumps. The group of our kids are just like, damn, he really died. Yeah, yeah.
He's just not there.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, I think what's more memorable is like, I think like each kid had their own thing, right? Like this kid could climb a tree super fast. This kid could run super fast. This kid could fucking build a basket out of weave, like shit like that. And that's what makes us remember these kids. Like,
wow. So you guys are surviving in the jungle. You make it to Thailand.
Yep. Big. So the whole initiative to moving it to Thailand, because we caught wind that America was coming to help and taking some refugees, but they weren't landing in Cambodia because of the war zone. So that's the main thing. So we were moving out to Thailand, and finally, my group or my family, dude, we were so late. We were almost didn't make the cut. So the whole act of seeking refugees and America was helping us. I think there was a window from like 1978 to like 1990 or something like that. But 1990 was the limit. We didn't meet the American soldiers until 1988, bro. That's the reason why. Excuse me. Like they didn't find us until 1988. So then that way, we were so late. Everything that was still going on, the chaos and all of that, we were still living it while some families already flown and came here already and started a life. We were still escaping it and trying to survive. The reason why I say this is because when we met the soldiers and got into the concentration camps, I remember seeing these fucking like cell blocks. And I remember the letters like A, B, C1, C2. At the time, none of us knew what the letters were. And I would ask, I was like, what does that say? What does that say? Nobody knew. And the thing was, I don't remember a lot of time there. That's the reason why I'm saying this, because like I think we stayed there for the most like 2 months, 3 months, something like that. And it was crazy because the food that they fed us was not our food. So we weren't used to that shit. So like, dude, I think like 90% of the group I was with, first time eating like a fucking turkey sandwich, fucking orange juice, everybody fucking puked. Like, they were like, dude, what the fuck is this? You know? And I was the same, right? I was like, I've never seen water that color. Like, I'm not gonna drink that. You know what I mean? But
color? Clear?
No, like orange juice, because we didn't know there was any other juice besides water. Like, they gave us orange juice, and we were like, what the fuck is this? Like, I'm not gonna drink this. This is not water. Like, but But yeah, so then we were there for like 2 to 3 months.
Thailand.
In Thailand, correct. When the soldiers actually finally found us, the reason why we surrendered is because they had guns. We knew right away that they were the group to extract us from the chaos, because like other people, like that you could see. So at the time, right, you notice like obviously they're not Asian, one, and the type of guns they use, like American guns are way different than our guns, Cambodian guns. And that's what right away, like my dad and his friends knew it. They were like, oh, that's help. And that's how they identified help. Because obviously they all had like masked up and like helmets and stuff. But at the same time, my dad was like, the guns they're using is American guns. And the dude's crazy, man, just like that. Like, so that's how we surrendered. And then, and then we went through, I remember doing like quarantine and all that stuff. They gave us like a shower down. They fucking blood samples, everything, and like the whole 9 yards. I remember that all. And then I remember sleeping in like rooms and stuff like that. And it was crazy. And like it only went on for like 2 months. And then we finally found like I would guess they call it a sponsor or something, like a family that sponsored us. So I remember the trip too, from the camp to from our forest camp into the concentration camp. We had to board a helicopter.
Refugee camp or concentration camp?
I don't know what you would call it, concentration. Refugee camp makes sense as well too. Yeah, so like from our camp from the woods to the refugee camp, I remember boarding the helicopter and I was like, bro, what the fuck is this? Dude, it was crazy, right? Because like, you know, as a kid, you see birds fly and you're like, dude, I want to fly. And then given that opportunity right then and there, I was like, dude, this is crazy. And that I remember perfectly clear. And then, and then landing and going through the process of screening and all that. And then the foods. And then, and then we weren't there long, 2 to 3 months, but I think tops. And then after that, a family, I guess, sponsored us in Washington State, believe it or not. I forget what city in specific. I think most like Seattle or something like that. But yeah, we flew from there to Seattle, and it was the worst flight ever, bro. It took like 2 days, 2.5 days. And everyone who was in our group that came from Cambodia to America during that transition, dude, all you hear is, bleh, bleh, bleh. Dude, people puking on the plane nonstop because we're not used to that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's all new to us. Motion sickness was new. We didn't know any of these things. So, like, dude, it's just the whole flight, dude, just hear, bleh, 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 like, people throwing up everywhere, dude. And I threw up, like, so much, too. And then, like, it came to a point where my parents were worried that I was actually going to die because everything that we ate, we threw up. Everything we drank, we threw up. There was no nutrition in us at all. And then when they were saying how when we landed, I had to go sleep in the hospital for like a month for recovery, like, and all this stuff. And I remember it too because I remember the doctors bringing in like new toys and stuff, and I was like, yo, this is cool. Like, they brought like a G.I. Joe action figure and like a dump truck, like a Tonka dump truck. I was like, yo, this is cool. Like, you know what I mean? And I remember all of that stuff too. But yeah, dude, it's so then and I would guess I will extend the story a little bit. After landing in Washington State, we weren't there long either. I think 2 weeks. Then after that, they shipped us to Stockton, California. Like, I have no idea how that transition happened, but they were like, here, hop on a bus. Your social worker is at this address. Go meet them. They'll get you situated. And that's what we did. Hopped on the bus from Washington State to Stockton, California. Got to Stockton, California. They set us in a new place and all that good stuff. But that shit was hell, bro. It's crazy because, like, in that transition, the group that came with us, dude, there were some like Khmer Rouge people that blended in with us. And then when we got to Stockton, California, they started killing again. So put it this way, right? The first week that we were in Stockton, California, there was like 18, 19 murders of within the group that just got there, which was my group. And it was the craziest part, man, because like I felt so bad for like everyone who lived in the area. We just came in there and stormed it up. I'm talking about like did things that we only knew how to do. Gamble, bullshit, steal, kill each other. Like it was insane, man. And then I think by like the second week, dude, I think like where we were staying, every fucking house on the block had for sale signs. But yeah, man. And then I guess I will go a little further and tell you how I got here into Providence, Rhode Island.
Well, how long were you in California for?
I would say a little under a year, like 11 months or something like that. Yeah, and it wasn't a good place because like we had to watch out for our own, which means like our own people are killing each other, and we also had to face like super harsh, like fucking racism, right? Because we're being new to the community. At that time, there wasn't a large Asian population or Cambodian population, like Southeast population, right? There, obviously, like Mexicans were there, blacks were there, and like, like majority of some whites, but like a big majority it was like Mexicans and blacks. And when we landed, it was all chaos. It was us fighting each other. It was us fighting them, and it was just, dude, it was wild, man. So like my parents never left the house, like ever. Like they only just like my dad had a janitor's job that they hooked him up with and was like, just go here and work, and that's what he did. And then we never left the house because we were like scared because we were like we didn't know anything. We were thinking that everyone in America had guns and they could kill us at any time because we don't know the laws. We didn't know nothing, So yeah, I think we stayed there for 11 months. I think the most. And the craziest part, how we ended up in Providence, Rhode Island, right? It was because my dad's sister, which is my aunt, he's had an affair with someone since our country. They landed in Massachusetts in Lowell. And then when he came with us in the group. And when he landed, he left from Cali and went straight to Massachusetts, right? So then my aunt is in love with him. So she fucking follows him. And then my that's his only sister. So he was like, I'm not going to let you go. Fuck it. We all packed. We followed. Dude, it took us, I think, a total of 10 days in a fucking van. Like we paid basically almost a coyote to bring us across because we couldn't drive. We don't have licenses. We don't have cars. We don't have nothing. It was just word of mouth. They were saying like, oh, there's people, like bringing people from West Coast to East Coast to West Coast, like pay this amount for our family. I think it was like 300 at the time for like our family. And that's exactly what happened. We boarded into that stupid van. I remember the smell of it because it was fucking terrible. And then, yeah, like 10 days or 11 days later, ended up in Providence, Rhode Island. And it was crazy because at that time, we didn't know anybody. We literally begged to like another Cambodian family to like house us until we get on our feet. And that's the story. We came to Providence, Rhode Island, and I would say like late 1991, early 1992. And I've been here since.
Providence, Rhode Island has one of the bigger Cambodian populations with Lowell, Long Beach, California. Stockton, I think, is up there.
Yeah, yep, it definitely is, yep.
What was it like? Now, when you got to Providence, was there a big population of Cambodians already, or was it in the process of growing? Was it small?
So I would say it was a fairly good amount. Like I would say it's a really big amount, more than what it is now.
Was it what in Stockton?
Oh, no way. So Stockton, there was like other Asian groups that we weren't aware of. Like I'll use an example, like Samoans. Like we didn't know they were even Asian. Like we've never seen them before. But then we know that they don't look white and they don't look black. And we were like, who are these people? And then like and then there was like some Karens, like some people, like some Hmong people and stuff. And we were wondering like, how the fuck did they get here before us? You know what I mean? Because in our transition, we didn't think that there was already groups that left. Like we're thinking like, oh, we're the first ones, or like we're the only ones and stuff like that. So when we landed, there was already established here in Stockton, California. But I'll be honest with you, it was just all crooked work, man. Like everyone was like a gambler, hustler. Everyone was a drug dealer. No one did honest work. And then that was just the thing. Everyone did it, and the thing was, it's like it's almost right because it's what everyone knew and it's what everyone taught.
So, you get to Providence, there's somewhat of a Cambodian population, you guys are housed by a family.
Mm-hmm.
Explain just some of the culture shock.
I would definitely say some of the culture shock was the violence was very minimal. Like I'll be honest, when we came here, it was like peaceful. And we were like, what the fuck? Like, dude, this is new. There was like no chaos, bro. Like, people was just minding their business, one, and two, people were actually fucking pretty friendly, bro. Like when we came, people were like, oh, there's this location that hands out free lunch from this time to this time. Bring your kids, stuff like that. And I guess like living like in Stockton, we were there for a short amount of time and we never went outside. But at the same time, there was no help there, right? There was no people like, oh, come here if you guys are hungry, or like, oh, the kids are doing this at this time, go with them, stuff like that. So when we came to Rhode Island, that was the culture shock. To me, it was how peaceful people were. And I'll be honest, it's mainly seeing how nice other Asian people were to Asian people. Like, it really was, like, they understood it, because I think they were here longer than us. So, like, they finally settled in and figured out that we need to help each other. You know what I mean? And I think that was the biggest culture shock. And also seeing, like when I came here, the population of blacks was more than anything else. Like, there was very few white people and very few Spanish people. But in Providence, when we got here, I would say like the Spanish population was well under us. Like, Asians were like number 2 under like blacks in terms of population here when I got here.
You're talking about the population of ethnic minorities.
Correct. Yep.
So what about some of the cultural differences of, I mean, America's still brand new to you, and you're a kid in America. What are some of the things that you noticed and highlighted?
To me, bro, it was like getting out of survival mode was the biggest struggle for me, man. To tell you the truth, it was like learning how to like not think that someone's gonna attack you every second, right? Like, so every time someone walked by me, I'd always have to be like, you know what I mean? Because it was hard to just trust people. And I think like that was my biggest struggle, bro. Like, it was like learning how to just let that go and come out of survival mode and adjust to this way of life, right? Like this way of living. And then also, like, there was no one teaching us the social norms. There was no one telling us what was wrong, what was right, what was expected, what was the things that are frowned upon, things that were like, people are proud of you of. Like, I didn't know any of this shit, bro. Like, it was terrible. And it sucks too, because my parents didn't know any of these things either. So they held on to whatever they knew, which was survival mode. And it was a bad time, man, to tell you the truth, man.
What was school like for you when you were there?
So school, I would say it was probably the best time. In all honesty, it was because I got to experience something outside of home that was somewhat normal, right? Seeing the same group of people, seeing my teacher, like learning how to like ground myself to normality, right? Like, so seeing these people every day and doing like specific things with them every day, that helped me come to terms with like, okay, I think this is how it is. I think this is what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? And then it was crazy too. Like, it was like my upbringing was so crazy, man. Like, my parents were scared of everything, bro. Like everything. Even when somebody spoke to them in English, they would get freaked out and get defensive because they don't know what they're saying. And it was crazy because I think I remember like second grade, my teacher gave me a present, right? And like a $5 bill with it. I came home with it. My fucking parents thought I stole it and they fucking beat me for it. Yeah, man, it was crazy, man. And like I said, I'm old enough now to let all of those things go, and I understand, the things that they did and why they did them and all that. I think in every parent's like perspective and heart, they want the best for their kids, right? Like, whether the approach is wrong or right, at the end of the day, I know that's what they feel. You know what I mean? So like, I've learned to let that go, and it sucks too because like coming to America and learning all of these things, to me, I became first generation, right? Because till today, my parents don't even know how to speak English. They don't even know like what it's like to be in society. They don't know any of those things. So like for me, I think that was my biggest driving factor to be somebody and be good in this life, man. Because first generation here, right? Blank canvas, bro. We get to do what we want. I get to set traditions. I get to set the standards. I get to set the rules. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like people in my age group, all like I would say 70% of people in that age group failed at that, man, because they didn't see the bigger picture. They just lived day by day to see like, what am I gonna eat today? What am I gonna do today? How am I gonna get by today? as me in the background, what are my future generations going to be like? What are they going to be left with? What are we going to have? What is our family tree going to look like? What is our empire going to look like? And part of those things was all of us, right? Sitting down, watching TV, watching how rich people live, watching all of this stuff. I figured out at an early age, bro, money gives you freedom. It doesn't give you power. You could abuse it and use it for power, but it gives you freedom. And that's the reason why I was really money driven at an early age. I've been working under the table from 9 years old, bro, all the way up until 18, until I was old enough to work at a real factory, a real company.
That money motivation mixed with the group of Cambodians that you had to kind of be with, right, in Providence, led to some illegal activity, right?
Definitely.
Because there was a culture of Asian gangs in Rhode Island that was pretty significant in the 90s. Can you talk about that?
Definitely, yeah. I would definitely touch on that. And let's say, like, definitely, I think everyone within the culture was involved some point or another, right? Like, it's either you were in one, you knew somebody was in one, you knew the reasons, and like I would tell you the truth though, like there's two reasons why there are gangs in Providence, right? Like to protect ourselves from racism from other groups, because like our women were getting raped, beat up, robbed on the daily basis, bro. Excuse me. On the daily basis. So, you know, ultimately what that led to, oh, we got to protect our own. We got to protect each other. So that's like the double OGs, right? The double OGs, they formed that gang to protect themselves from racism. The generation of gangs right after that was the shitheads. Was the ones that, I rep this color, I rep that color, I rep this street, you rep that street. I want to be noticed. I want street creds. So they just do stupid crimes that mean nothing, bro. Like at the end of it, there was really no beef. It was just, I want to be known for this. I want to be known for that, right? And obviously, my older brother was in a gang. I was in a gang. My little brother's still in a gang. It's a generational curse, man. It really is, man. And obviously, like gangs, they all operate under one rule, just illegal activities. Everyone sold drugs. Everyone did robberies. Everyone just did what they wanted. There was just all chaos, man. There was no like control to the chaos. Everyone was just for themselves, and I guess what they were being taught was, so like the double OGs taught them fight racism, fight with each other, fight for each other, right? And then when that was passed down to the OGs, they changed the script. They've rewritten the whole rules of the streets. They were just basically saying, it's us, fuck them. Us, kill them.
So you said when you came to Providence, it was peaceful. This is when you were much younger.
Yeah.
So now you get a little older.
I would say getting into like 6th grade, I started seeing the gang life, right? Because like before then, I was just, you know, still enjoying my youth and being a kid riding bikes around, but I saw the gang members. But like my older brother, even my parents just say, stay away from them. But as I got into 6th grade and stuff like that, that's when I started like seeing the real gang life, right? Like people that were in my class that were in gangs. Like, and then basically I got threatened to be in one, right? Like, you live on our turf, you live in our street, like you have to join us, you know?
What street was that, if you don't, or do you want to say?
Waverly Street in Providence, Rhode Island. Yeah. They were like, this is our turf, like you have to join us. And then I got introduced to it. That's when I started meeting some people that started like giving me a background of why we have beef with this group, who did what, watch out for this guy, all of these things. That's when I started like being heavy into the gang life.
So you were in a gang?
I definitely was.
You want to say what the name of it is?
I don't want to, just for the simple reason I'm out of it now, and I don't want like any reason to piss anyone off to come after me now.
And how long were you involved with that?
I would say a majority of my youth, right? I think from like 12 all the way up to 20, man. Even with the pregnancy of my first child, I was still involved in it, heavy. Like still showing up when people were like, "Yo, we're gonna ride at them today. Oh, they're having a party. Let's go shoot them up." Like shit like that. Like I was still like into that shit all the way up into my 20s.
Did anybody you know ever get killed in gang violence?
Of course, I'll give you a perfect example. One of my good friends, his name is Pia. So this dude, he went to a party over here at the Portuguese Club off Elmwood. Stepped outside for 1 second, bro, to call his mom to tell her to leave the doors open because he forgot his keys at home. That one moment cost him his life. Because he looks just like his older brother, right? They thought it was his older brother. They fucking beat him, and then they dragged him to the car. I don't know what the intent was, to kidnap him or whatever it was, but shit went south. So as they were beating him and stuff, and then he was trying to leave. As he was trying to leave, they ended up driving off down Elmwood, and he was being dragged out of the car for like almost like a half mile or plus. So finally, the connection broke, and then they ran him over with the rear tire, and just like that, bro, he's gone. This is a cat that, dude. So there was a specific game, I'll mention them, is LP, which is Lost Pride. Like it's stupid, bro. Like one of their girls in their group likes me. I ain't got nothing to do with it. All they did was got a name and came looking for me. So when they came looking for me, this dude Pierre was the only person that stood up for me. They came like fucking 6 deep in a car with a strap, and they were like, "Where's Sarith?" Pierre stood up with a stupid fucking pocket knife. He was like, "What's up, bro?" And he was like, "He ain't here." I was like, "What you want?" And they were like, "Nah, if he ain't here, he ain't here." So they just took off. But dude, I remember that day clear, bro. Out of like that group that we were with, there was like 10 of us. Pierre was the only one who stood up with a fucking stupid pocket knife and was like, "What's up?" Knowing that they had a gun. Yeah.
And he was the one that eventually got killed.
Got killed, yep. And it was some crazy shit, bro. Like that till today, like I think about that a lot, man. It's like you know, all of these what ifs run through your mind, right? Like, what if he's still here now? Would we still be friends? What if he's still here now? What will happen? Like all of these what ifs, but yeah, man, RIP to him, man. He was a real one. And that's definitely on the news. You could Google that.
What about prison time? Did you ever get in trouble?
Definitely. So, if we're talking about prison time, I'm going to tell you, this is the time that I discovered myself and knew that I had to come out of this crazy life and all that, right? So I think from 2005 to 2006, I was locked up for like 6 months, right? They were trying to get me on a drug charge because somebody in a opposite gang did a drive-by. They had the same car I did, me going to pick up weed and making a delivery. They thought it was me who did the shooting. Gets pulled over, and it wasn't a regular pullover, bro. There was like fucking 15 police cars, fucking helicopters, and I was like, what the fuck? How did they know? You know what I mean? And then sure enough, found out they just basically locked me up, threw me in the back of the seat, searched it. They did everything they had to do, but they didn't say one word to what they were looking for or anything. So I was like, damn, they got me. Then as the story develops more and more, like a week or two down the road, comes to find out, I'm not even who they're looking for. I'm not even the guy. And they were looking for a drive-by suspect, looking for a gun, and it wasn't me. So they try to hit me with a plea bargain and say, oh, plead guilty, you're gonna be stuck with an F, we'll reduce your time to certain X amount, blah, whatever. And I was like, nah, fuck that. If I'm not the guy you're looking for, I'm gonna fight it. So what ended up happening was I reached out to a few lawyers. Nobody wanted to take the case, bro. Nobody in Rhode Island, because you're ultimately challenging the Providence, the police department, right? And no lawyer firm wants that under their belt. Like, you know what I mean? Because
What were they trying to pin on you?
10 pounds of marijuana and intent to dispute, because at that amount, right, it's basically a federal charge already because of the street value of how much it cost. And that's basically what they were trying to hit me with. And then I didn't learn of everything in clarity until I actually got my lawyer, a lawyer, and I had to source someone out because through word of mouth. and this dude's it's from Boston, so he took the case, and it was not cheap. But if it wasn't because of him, I wouldn't be here today, bro. They were looking to deport me. Basically, that's the ultimate goal was. They were just trying to deport me. They were trying to get me to plead a guilty deal, just so I'm guilty. Now they're like, okay, he's guilty. Just get rid of him. What's the point of keeping him here? Because if, as like our group know, like our Asian group know, like the deportation was a big thing, bro. A lot of people got deported, man. Like a lot of people, and then they was just trying to ball me in with that too. So, and then when I finally like got a lawyer, and then he finally got the like 411 and the download about the situation, and he came back to me and was like, listen, they're not even looking for you. They're looking for a fucking shooting suspect. He was like, this is gonna be an easy win. Sure enough, yep. That's what it was, bro. Easy win. So then we went on to fight the case. Appealed it, fought it, beat it, got my sentence. They was trying to hit me with like, oh, take like 5 years and take the F charge and everything would be good. And we were like, nah, fuck that. My lawyer was like, no charge, not on his record, none of this shit. And then we beat the case. All in all, beat the case. I only served like 4.5 months. Came out, free man. I stayed connected with my lawyer just because like I needed to make sure with him that like nothing's on my record. Sure enough, nothing's on my record. And here's the crazy part. And he was like, let's sue them now. And he was like, let's sue them because they're not looking for you. They were like basically incriminating you for no reason if they're not looking for you. You know what I'm saying? And then I was like, dude, if you think you could beat the case, let's go for it. And you know, being him as a lawyer, he knows his shit, man. He knows that like this is easy money. Like ultimately, it was like case of mistaken identity 1 and harassment 2, and we got away with it, bro. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna disclose the amount of money, but we got away with it. We won. So right then and there, that 4 months of me trying to fix my life and thinking about how I need to change and how the changes that need to be made. With that case being won and given to me, that money, dude, I changed my life completely, bro. Like I came out, I cut all old friends. I started to like trying to figure things out on my own. I was like, what is the workforce like? Like, you know, just trying to like grow as a person too, man. So like started taking myself out of like my comfort zone, pushing myself into places that I'm not familiar with, learning the rules, learning this and that. And it was a good move, man. Look at that. That was like 2006. Today, I'm literally a process engineer, bro, working in like white collar America and doing shit that I never thought I'd do. You know what I'm saying? Like being around an environment that's completely like new to me, but also an environment I like. Because everyone is not in that survival mode. Everyone, it's not there to hurt you like how I'm used to. Like, bro, I'm used to hate, but love is fucking foreign, man. Like, and for me, being around people that like actually loves you and wants the best for you, it's a weird adjustment, bro. It's like, do I trust this person? Or are they just out to get me like the rest of them? But as times go by, you start to see people's true intentions, and like these people like in this new environment, they're actually there to help me, bro. Help me grow, help push me out of my comfort zone, help raise my level of learning and all these things, and I'm grateful for that, man.
Where do you work?
I work at a company called AFOA, so like Advanced Functional Fiber of America in Cambridge, Massachusetts. But yeah, I worked, and like everything there is, every information is like proprietary because I work a lot close with like the DoD and stuff like that, like a lot of government contracts and agencies and stuff like that. But yeah, dude, it's insane, man.
Much different life than when you were, you know, born to 12, 13 to 20 years old.
Yeah.
The first 20 years of your life is a lot different.
Dude, I couldn't have kept going down that road. It would have been like 2 or 3 years, I would have been expired, bro. I would have been dead. Like, in all honesty, man, because like, it's crazy, man. It's like, when you think about it now, it was just a constant battle of like good and evil, right? And there's I didn't know where the line was then, right? Because we're all looking for the right ways to do the wrong shit, right? Like, so like I didn't see the line then, but like now I do, man. Now it's clear to me, man, that like, dude, I was a shit person before. I had a shit lifestyle. Like nothing was going for me. Like ever since I came to this country, I wanted more for myself and for my family, and living that life didn't give that. It didn't provide it. And I've invested a lot of time, energy, effort, being locked up, shot at, like all this shit. And for what? It gave me nothing out of it. So I had to change the course of that all and try something that's different, man. Like no one in my family is a college graduate. No one in my family has a real proper education. No one has a real job. Everyone just works a job, gets laid off, gets fired, goes to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. Like no one real have a real career path, a real roadmap for growth. Nobody has those things, and I've been blessed to have this knowledge, and I can map out my life. I could dictate it how I want. I could make decisions as I please, and you know, like I think like a lot of people are presented those same opportunities, but they just didn't see it as an opportunity, right?
I'm gonna ask you one question that I ask everybody, and then I'm gonna have you tell us who you are. But think about your 12-year-old self. Okay, you're in a room. What do you tell Sarith at 12 years old? One thing.
One thing, huh? This is a tough one, man. This is a question I often ask myself, but always never have an answer to. It's weird, right?
One thing you tell your 12-year-old self.
Honestly, bro, I really don't know. Other than as soon as you turn 18, you get your first job, maximize your contributions towards your 401k. It sounds like a stupid, cheesy thing to say, but in all honesty, bro, that saved my life. A majority of my money resides there. That's my backbone. And I didn't learn that until I was 27 is when I started making contributions and seeing how big it is now. What if I started at 18? Dude, everything that I'm working towards financially by setting like leaving property, leaving all of these riches for my upcoming generation, that would have done it, bro. That definitely would have. And it goes back to like just having appreciation for the freedom that money gives, man.